Hi everyone, I'm Linda Bennett, your spiritual counselor and psychic host for Metaphysically Speaking. This is going to be the New Year show for the year 2016. Can you believe it? I don't even know where 2015 went. I wrote 2012 on a check in the store the other day, and the woman looked at me. She's a little behind time, aren't we? I said, why? It's 2015. Anyway, yes, I am behind the times. I don't really pay attention to years. I pay attention to energy movement. Or we could say eras, E-R-A-S, not E-R-R-O-R-S, errors, eras, ages. Um, and I have all these little goodies up here on the table because I want to suggest a way for you to start the new year maybe a little differently and maybe a little more cheerfully. And I don't know about you, but I cannot tell you. I don't think I actually have ever been out to a New Year's Eve party. My first ex and I had friends over on one New Year's Eve. And basically, he used to fall asleep, and I would watch the ball drop and say, okay, well, what does that mean? The idea of being out with pickpockets and crooks and drunks never appealed to me. So we always just used to stay home, and sometimes we would have a couple of friends come over. We'd go over to their house, but it was not a big deal. It's to me a day or an evening of taking stock of your life and figuring out what went wrong this past year. Why was it karma? Did it need to take place? Karma is the law of cause and effect. In science class, you learn that for every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. So karma is the law of cause and effect. Sometimes karma it's not good or bad. It's just how you perceive it. If you get hit by a truck, that's kind of lousy. So you can perceive it as kind of lousy, and nobody would be upset with you for that. But it's also how the main issue is, how do you handle it? Do you handle it angry and mean and bitter and lash out at everybody? Or do you say, maybe I ran over somebody with a chariot 1,000 years ago. Maybe I invaded somebody's home and hacked them all to death and ran off with their horse. So there's always a reason, and we don't necessarily have to think back to World War II or World War I or the Civil War. We have to think back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And sometimes, if somebody is particularly accident prone, but it's in a particular category, like you're constantly tripping or you're constantly banging your hand, think of that as a lifetime that you're having now where you're taking care of a series of events in the same category that you created in another lifetime. So instead of being resentful, say, thank you, God, for, get up here, Gracie, thank you, God, for allowing me to get this karma over with, because it's kind of boring. I'm tired of smashing my hand or tearing a nail or breaking another toe or whatever the deal is. It's getting really boring now. And how soon can it be over? But you don't want to end it because you don't want to have to start another life and go through the same thing over and over again because you cut it short in this lifetime. So say, let's get it all out of the way. I want it to be over without as much adversity as possible. Let's just take care of the karma without any little extras, unless they're little blessings. So understanding the reason behind things. Religions want you to think one-dimensionally. The Western religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, want you to think one-dimensionally. If you're bad, you go to hell. If you're good, you go to heaven. What if you're mediocre? What do? Just float around in the ether doing nothing? What if you don't really do much for anybody and you don't really cause any harm and you have a nice yard and you say hi to the neighbors, but you don't really do much anything else with your life? Why don't you put that to good use? Why don't you put this time off, so to speak, to good use? Why don't you take some yoga classes? If you're really good in enunciation, which is the way you pronounce words, why don't you volunteer at your local library to read to children on Saturday morning? Most libraries have these kinds of programs. Or volunteer at a preschool or a kindergarten in your community to read to children, to help them read. 2 hours a day. 1 day a week for a whole day or a half a day. Give what you can. Or volunteer at your Humane Society. Animals just want a hug and a kiss. They want their home. They want their new owners to be loving and caring and nurturing instead of where they came from, which is probably not enough food, and they weren't cared for properly, and they were kicked out the door. I mean, this one I adopted from the Humane Society 3.5 years ago, and she was petrified. I mean, would claw me if I walked near the front door and the inside door was open. The storm door was closed, but her eyeballs would pop. She was so terrified of being thrown out. It's taken years to get her calm and happy-go-lucky the way she is now, because she was not well treated. And so therefore, and she's the first cat I've gotten from the Humane Society. Other cats were literally thrown over a fence or found in the middle of the road. It makes me very sad to see how people treat pets, any kind of animals. And this one is now eating my plant. So if you please get out of the plant. Yeah, out of the plant, up here. Come on, Gracie. Oh, there she go. What a good girl. So tell everybody, did you like it at the Humane Society? No. So give your time to someone or something. Do you have a neighbor maybe who is not feeling well and maybe she needs her floor vacuumed? Maybe when you're going to the store, call her and say, I'm running over to the supermarket. Is there anything you need? Really, is there anything you need? Because people don't want to bother anybody else and say, look, really, I'm going to the store. I'm getting in the car. What can I get you? So doing little things like that, take your time to make yourself productive. You can also do things like surround yourself with things that bring you joy. This teeny weeny little angel that you can barely see brings me great joy because it's so sweet and cute. It was only a couple of bucks. I don't even remember where I got it from. Angels, I love angels. These are the angels that have the battery inside and turn on automatically. Elephants, I love elephants and giraffes and snow leopards. And the elephant trunk should always be up or curled up for good luck. This is a beautiful piece. Remember that store that we used to go to? I got these two beautiful there. They also had giant ones. There wouldn't be enough room for me, the cat, and the two giant elephants if I brought them into my house. But elephants are good luck, and I love elephants. And you can't have an elephant. Crystals.
You mean a live elephant?
Pardon me?
You can't have a live elephant.
No live elephants in your yard. You cannot take care of them. Trust me. There are idiots who'll go get tigers for pets. They're really cute when they're kittens. However, in a month, they're really big and they can bite. And they will. So only cats and dogs and guinea pigs or bunnies, or some people like rats or birds. But if you're going to get a bird, you need to be schooled about birds. You cannot give them boxed food from the supermarket. If you look in the Amazon jungle, you're not going to find billions of boxes hanging from trees. You're going to find nuts and fruits and seeds. So like our vet is an avian specialist. You have to be certified as an avian specialist. And he sells special food that is formulated according to his special diet. He's got his own parrots. I can't stand parrots. They're screaming all the time. Nevertheless. So if you're going to have a pet, make sure you know all about the pet. And make sure you budget for good pet food. Pets die on bad food. It has to be meat. Number one, not meat byproducts, because that could be toenails. You want meat. And you buy it from, say, a natural boutique store. And give good litter to your cat. Never let your cat outside. I use plastic, the big contractor bags, line the pan, put the litter on top, slide underneath, the excess, slide it underneath, slide the pan in place. All set. Scoop out everything, not with the claw thing, not with the rake, but use tissues and shake off in a separate bag the excess litter and flush the rest down in the john. So why? Because it'll keep your cat safe. And also if you use the rake, it leaves the smelly litter behind. You think, oh, the cat's pan smells awful. Well, it's your fault. You don't clean it properly. So if you're going to have a bird, budget for the bird. And animals need regular checkups at your vet. Find a good vet. And please try to get your pets from somebody's cat who had kittens, or your vet always knows of kittens and puppies that are being born by somebody who didn't neuter their pets, and neuter your pets. So you can have a live pussycat, but make sure she's fixed or he's fixed. And the other crystal down in front, the purple one, is an amethyst. And the Greeks believed that amethysts prevented intoxication. They were probably drunk at the time because it doesn't work that way. But amethyst is a purple color, and it's a natural healing energy visually to you. And it makes you feel better. And purple was always the color of royalty because it was almost impossible to get from nature. Also, my little temple food dogs. China had everything from those giant chows. They had apparently in certain parts of China a type of mastiff. And then they had the little tiny Pekingese. Oh, I never liked Pekingese. I was nipped at by Pekingese as a child. It was nasty little Pekingese, but not all Pekingese are nasty. But these would protect the ladies in waiting and the prince or princess, the little children. And they all had their own little Pekingese. And Pekingese were actually saved by the women of the temples underneath their robes. And they held their little mouth shut, and they walked very slowly because their feet were bound, which is a horrible torture. It's now been outlawed in China. Hopefully nobody's feet are being bound anymore. And so they were saved, and they were smuggled out of the temple. Otherwise, there'd be no Pekingese dogs today. And they were used to guard the children, the inside people. Then they had, the chows, and there was one other thing. Oh, the Shih Tzus, which in China at the time were a little larger. So they're resting on the globe, the world, and they're on guard. I have them outside. I've got them inside. And these are in my meditation room. They can be black. They can be gold. You can get a can of spray paint, spray them pink if you want. Whatever you want to do. But they're sweet. I also love Pegasus, who works with the Archangel Michael. I'm going to move this Pegasus. Put Pegasus right here for a moment. And Pegasus is the white horse. The unicorn is the one with the little horn. And that's an ancient animal. And Pegasus has wings. That's called an ethereal animal. And that means he can appear in the physical world, and he can appear in the astral world, which is where he primarily lives. And you can have a little $3.59 vase that I got from True Value Hardware, and a little silk flower, and stick that in the little vase in a place where you will see it all the time, maybe in your bathroom, your hallway, your bedroom, and that cheers you up. I also have a little elephant that was given to me by one of my students years ago. This is a naturally terminated, gigantic piece of black tourmaline. Tourmaline is one of my favorite stones. Black tourmaline, and this dissipates negative energy. Many years ago, I did feng shui, which is what I do for homes and businesses, for a country club down in Sarasota. And the wife and I went shopping. She retained my services, and I redecorated the outside. Let me just tell you about the energy when you have good purpose. The first day I was there, I was recognized by one of the guys behind the counter, the people who would register people in and check things, send them to tennis, send them to the pool, whatever. And he said, "Oh my God, you're Linda Bennett. You're on Metaphysically Speaking." I had a regular call-in talk show then on cable. And they got 13, by the time I was leaving that day, packing up my stuff to leave, 13 new calls to become members. The next day, there were 24. As we're slowly changing the colors and the painters are starting to go, when we order the fabric and we get new furniture and we get crystals. So her husband was really a really vicious person. I'm talking doing mean tricks, doing things like making her keys disappear, which she'd spend hours looking for the keys, and suddenly he'd say, "Oh, look at them over here." Not giving her any money for food that week, and then screaming and throwing a fit because there was no food in the house. Really bad situation. She got one twice this size, and I had her put it right at the corner of her desk, which lined up with the doorway. And her husband was furious because he was seeing changes. And she had wanted to buy this club for her daughter. I won't give you more details because you don't need them, and if you live in that area, you'll know who I'm talking about. Well, he went barreling down the hall. He had a cane at the time. He had multiple sclerosis or muscular dystrophy. I can't remember which. And he's screaming at the top of his lungs, and the people behind the counter in the reception area could see him coming. And the wife was sitting there just like this, calmly at her desk, watching her office door. And he got around the door, and he went to put his foot inside the office, and he stopped dead. And then he pulled it back, and he looked around the office. He didn't see anything. This was making itself invisible. He didn't see the tourmaline, but he couldn't come in the office. They act like Doberman pincers. Sit quietly, mind their own business, and they're very protective. I had someone I didn't really like. I rarely ever worked with people I didn't like. This was a referral, and it was for a personal friend who said, please see this guy. He really needs help. So I have a bad feeling about this. I rarely ever had people I really actually viscerally and physically responded in a negative way to. And so I was trying to help him. He was arguing with me. I said, okay, my fee is going to be double for the arguing. So you either pay up now, the extra fee, or you get out. But during the session, I kept moving this tourmaline here and there, and he would move his chair away from the tourmaline. So if he had been sitting here and I moved it over here, he moved away. I sort of moved it back over here, and he'd move his chair again. Moved over here. Drove him nuts. I considered a return favor. Now you're saying, Linda, what is this stuffed pig doing here? You don't collect stuffed animals. This is a very special pig. You press his little ear. Remember Babe the pig? I'm just a pig on a mission. I love that pig! And you can change the batteries by opening this up and taking the battery pack out the back. I just put new batteries in. He's louder than ever. I love this pig. Pig sits on the end of my couch, and when I go by, I love this pig. Surround yourself with things in this new year that will bring you joy, that will make you smile. That didn't even bother Gracie. Things that maybe you've had stuffed in a closet somewhere because your ex didn't like them or your current spouse doesn't like them. Put them in a place that is just yours, where you do your makeup, where you guys dye your hair, whatever you do. Put it in your closet. Doesn't that cheer you up? It's silly, but it cheers you up. If you begin your new year like this, you are going to find that you smile wherever you go. I'm going to show you something else that makes me smile. I have the expression bunny rabbit's backside. I don't give a bunny rabbit's backside. And here is a bunny rabbit's backside with a little tail. My son-in-law gave me a card like this, a bunny rabbit's backside. Things that make you smile and make you remember that, yes, life is karmic. Every lifetime we have a menu of things we have to attend to and things that must be done. Your astrology chart talks about 3 lives: your past life, your present life, and your future life. You are on a schedule. You have to be with certain people at a certain time in a certain place. I wish everybody I needed to meet was up in Connecticut, so I wouldn't have had to move here. But nevertheless, things need to be in order. So People need to finish certain lifetimes at a certain time, meet up with their guardian angels. The guardian angels take a meeting. Everybody agrees to be in a certain place, in a certain country, in a certain time, and that you will meet up when it's appropriate. Then you say, I'm leading a successful life because I'm taking care of the issues and fulfilling the mission that I came here to fulfill. This is why there were so many midlife job changes. Because people did what they thought they had to, or that their parents wanted them to do, or that they thought they should do, or maybe they were really good at something and so they followed that, but they didn't really want to follow that. So now retirement time is coming, and they always wanted to play the piano. Take lessons. Rent a piano, find a good teacher, and take lessons. Even if you have to go to the teacher's house to take lessons, or the local Y, or the local community center, take lessons. Why? Well, because if you have craved playing the piano for, say, 40 years, and you haven't taken the piano, you have created the necessity of needing to play the piano in your next lifetime. You have created that energy. An idea, a thought, is energy. You put more energy to it, you put more energy to it, and instead of a tiny little pin, now it's larger and larger and larger. It's a thing. And you have to satisfy that thing. That's why we yogis say, desire nothing. Because that desire is going to trap you into thinking that you need to do certain things. And the only thing you need to do is what your soul knows you should be doing. If you feel an affinity for gardening like I do, in my mind, yes, I know the earth is going to be covered with water, and just like there are seashells in the Himalayas, and out in the Grand Canyon there are seashells, and in the middle of the desert they've already mapped out ancient lakes under the Sahara Desert. I know the earth is changing. I know we're losing coastline. I've been talking about global weather change for years and years and years. The only people who deny its existence are people who own stock in oil companies and companies that want to keep destroying. Or Christians whose ministers or priests keep telling them there's no such thing. But those of us who grew up at the water, and I grew up near the Atlantic Ocean, and a lot of houses I used to see as a child are gone, have been gone for years. And if you look at the beach line, when I was a child and came here at 12 years old, huge stretches of beach. Now, not so much. One good wave, those hotels are gone. So even though I know the earth is changing, what I'm trying to do is to create beauty. Not just for me. I had a neighbor who used to stick silk flowers out and change them every season. I thought she was nuts. After those bloody rabbits nibbling off the tops of my portulaca, and now I just got trimmed stems. It looked like somebody came with a tiny little hedge clipper. All the flowers are gone. I'm trying to create loveliness. I'm trying to create beauty. I have more butterflies, more bees. I've never been stung in this house by a bee. I've pushed bees out of the way. I've shooed them out of the way when I've been trying to weed underneath. I'm trying to create something of loveliness, like a little heaven on earth. I don't use poisons, so I've got every kind of creature and slug and snake here. And spiders. I hate those big spiders. Why don't they all go to heaven, their own little spider heaven, and get out of my yard? We don't need them. They don't serve me lunch. Why do we need them? Also remember the six-pointed star, which many refer to, and this is a water shot. You may not get this well. How are we doing there? That's good? Okay. It's a six-pointed star, which is two triangles, which is actually two pyramids together. The center being the soul. The Trinity. The male energy of God, like the standing pyramid. The female energy of God, like a bikini bottom. Okay, if you want to remember it that way. And the center is the soul of both the male and female energy of God. If you just have this as a symbol in your house of your new understanding of the universe, of your new understanding of the new year, this being a new birthing for you, a new opportunity to grow spiritually. If all you do is remember the golden rule and treat other people as you would like to be treated, that's all you need to do. It is all you need to do. So if you surround yourself with things that make you smile and take good care of your little pets and be kind to people, even if they're not kind to you, just smile. Have a nice day. That's all you need to do. You don't need to join a religion. You don't need to see 3 Our Fathers and 3 Hail Marys and a good act of contrition. You just need to be gracious. My favorite word. Remember, if you just open up your hearts and minds to God's universal truth, you're going to know that God and the angels are always with us. Stay with us, metaphysically speaking, Linda Bennett. Thank you.